I walk out my front door and it's what I do every day with dogs and sheep, and I'm sharing that with people coming.
Joe has been doing this since 2009.
I'm doubling up with minding the children and doing the school runs and stuff, as well as doing the sheepdog demonstrations. It's something you can tie in.
Tourism helps pay the bills.
There's very little income out of hill farming at the moment. Price of wool is so bad, it's costing us to shear the sheep. Price of a hill lamb is very low, so we're not selling big numbers or anything. So you're just about breaking even with the sheep. So you have to have some other income outside of that if you're going to be able to raise a family out in the countryside here in the mountains. But some of the younger dogs, it's just get them out for exercise, maybe give them 5 or 10 minutes, because they're not trained. They're only, 7, 8 months. So they're just learning their trade at the moment. Roy, my older dog, he's been doing it now for the last 6 years, so now it's nearly time he's going to be looking for the pension soon. So I'm lucky enough then I have a couple of young dogs coming through that are pretty good at it. I'll always have a litter of puppies here this time of year, and the puppies then have well socialised. So when I sell a puppy, there's no problem with them being nervous or strange with others. They're so used to being handled from a very young age. I think the more time, the more interaction you have with your dogs and more people have with your dogs, the better they'll work for you. These dogs are so intelligent and so clever, and if they know they're getting a bit of loving and a bit of attention, and if it starts at a very young age like that, it makes my job a lot easier, because when I start teaching these dogs something, they seem to train up fairly naturally. Yeah, I'm just working with Mac here. Mac is just a year old this month, so really we're just kind of getting him settled down with the sheep and getting moving them around a little bit nice and quietly if we can, because usually at this age they're very excitable. And you'll only do work up close with them at this age. It'll be another 2 or 3 months before you start stretching them out and teaching them how to drive and stuff. At the minute, I'm just teaching them how to go left and right. I'm just using my voice. So I start just giving the whistle. And as I'm moving, the dog is going to move around. If I move to the left, he's going to move to the left. If I move to the right, he'll move to the right. So I give the whistle for that direction then. He's a nice dog. He's a nice type of a dog. And I've been hopeful that by another 5, 6 months, that'd be quite a useful dog, because he has a nice way with sheep and he'll come up to sheep.
After a decade in the business, Joe knows what makes a good sheepdog.
I like to see a bit of enthusiasm, and having to slow down a dog I find is much better than trying to speed them up. In general, most dogs, given fair play, given a chance and brought on properly, should work to some degree. And they do change. You think when you're doing this, will you ever get them driving sheep away from you and stuff? But they will get into the idea, and it becomes easier as they get older.
A well-trained collie dog is invaluable to sheep farmers.
They'll vary in price as they get older and better, up until the age of 2 or 3. Then after that, it's going the other way again. So you'd like to have a dog fairly well advanced at 1.5 years, 2 years old. They're at the peak of their value, I guess. In general, you have a fair idea of what you should expect for a decent dog and a good dog. Most rewarding, I guess, is the first time you'll take a young dog to the hill and you can gather up 150, 200 sheep and do it without much shouting or roaring or much hassle. And that you'll see then what you have really is when you have them out on the mountainside. That's when you really think, yeah, this was all worthwhile. All the sheep of the mountains in this area will be gathered up now at the moment. I stuck with Roy again today and I have Gwyn with me as well, because they're the 2 best, I think, for loading sheep. Now, them sheep are not used to going in and out of the trailer, but when you have a good dog behind them, they comply. We're going to the mountain now for a little spin as well. There's a few up the side of the mountain still have to be brought down. Gwen is only, 2.5 now, so she hasn't done much hill work yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing how she gets on. Early October is always good. There's still a bit of a stretch in the evening. And it's a good time for the dogs too, because it's one of the most times of the year you can use young dogs on the mountain. Because they say in springtime the sheep are pregnant and in lamb. You cannot really be using young dogs that you haven't the right control on.
The work is risky.
3 things: good dog, good stick, good pair of binoculars. You'll always take a look. I want to take a look up to see where the sheep are. When we get out there, we want to get all the sheep. It's no good getting 99 of them. We're like the Good Shepherd. We'll always go looking for the last one and try and get every little one out of every little nook and cranny. You're working in very dangerous areas as well. You're working in cliffs, ledges and stuff. Not alone has the dog to be careful itself, it has to move the sheep carefully. It's fine seeing a dog that'll move sheep fast and everything, but you're working on 90-degree angles above on that mountain there, and one slip and a sheep is over the edge. And a dog has to be careful itself because it could slip as well. It's probably got more risk to it than we realise, because when you're doing something constantly and you take things for granted, it pays to be careful. You use dogs with bigger bunches. Out in the mountain, you're using dogs either side of them. And a good dogs will naturally go either side of the flock of sheep to keep them together. You assess every situation very quickly and just see if the dogs, it's the best way to put the dogs to get the sheep out of there and down safely and quickly. Come on here, Roy. I think we're just about breaking even. We're lucky if we are. And the sad part is there's very few young people going at it at the moment. Like in this valley alone, there's only 7 children under 10 years of age. There's one between 10 and 20, and there's no saying any of them will be interested in what's going on. It's a bit worrying, you know, and it's sad to see, because it's a lovely way of life. It's something that you'd like to think would go on. They're trying to incentivise young farmers and that. I'm a bit worried myself. It's like closing the gate when the sheep are gone, because a lot of people have left the area. It's beautiful to look at and everything, but as I said, people reckon you can't make a living out of the scenery.